Hi guys. I decided to do some porch rant. I'm from Porch Live. How you guys doing? Um, I want to talk about a certain subject I don't usually talk about. It's friendship. Um, I believe that people are basically made to seek their own survival, preservation, and perseverance, or whatever. They were designed to look after ourselves first, and by definition, in a friendship, you have to be able to not do that completely and give some of that care and whatever that is that you give yourself normally to the other person. Otherwise, you're not friends. You're just acquaintances, or you're just people that are just talking in the room together. A friend has to be willing, and it has to be two ways. Also, it has to be willing both ways to give up some of their self-preservation for the other person. Otherwise, you're not. Otherwise, either neither of you are friends, or only one of you is friends, and in that way, there's still no friendship, because friendship has to be mutual. Is mutual. Has to be both or none. And I ran into this with a moderator. I'm just being honest. I'm transparent with you guys. What do you want? I was doing something on the computer, and I asked a dumb, silly question, but it was an honest question. I said, "Do you have to hit this and this?" And he goes, "Of course." Like I'm stupid for not knowing that. And then after he did that, I kind of barked back at him, and then he came at me for barking back at him, and then never apologized. In fact, it seems like he doubled down on his position. I'm not listening to you, Jimmie. I just hear uh, whatever word he used. Not whatever word was. What did he say? But whatever, some negative thing. He just heard, the tone of me basically in a bad way, and and that meant he disrespected me, insulted my intelligence, and wasn't sorry. And that not only that, but if he's incapable of saying he's sorry, then he's incapable of being a friend, because he's still looking out for his own self-preservation at the end of the day. If it takes lowering yourself to say I'm sorry to a person to be a friend, and you don't do that, then you're the one that's not being the friend, and you're the one that might need to look at himself or herself. A person can't always be right, or they're too good to be a friend. And yet that also means they're not good enough, because it's the quality of being able to say you're wrong at times is the quality that makes you able to be someone's friend. If I'm always right, then I'm only myself friend. I'm not your friend. I'm always right. And I try not to do that. But then again, nobody's perfect. But I still work with the moderator. We're still partners. But if he can't, if it stays like this, I'd have nothing more to say. The only thing I have to say is, you insulted my intelligence. You laughed at my in non-intelligence. Essentially, he didn't literally laugh, but the gist of it was he scorned my non-intelligence when it comes to computers, and then didn't apologize. Didn't even acknowledge that was a problem on his end. And then when I came back at him, he scolded me for coming back at him. And I even said, "You started it." And he said, "I know, but," meaning he admitted as much as starting it, but then he couldn't apologize for starting it. And that's an impasse for friendship. That means that friendship can't go further than that until that gets resolved. I'm not going to go on and just throw that under the rug and act like everything. I'll be his business partner, and I'll be his musician, and he can be my producer, but we're not going on friendship-wise until that gets resolved. And it may not be, and then we may never be friends. Whatever, I've been alone before. I can do it again. It's nice to have a friend, but I know what it's like to not have any, and I can do it. I've already proven I can do it because I've done it. So I didn't mention that just to say about the moderator, and I also wanted to talk about friendship in general. And it takes both to be a friend. You can't be somebody's friend. I can like a girl that doesn't like me back, and that does not make her my girlfriend. Same with friends. I can be somebody's friend, but if they're not being my friend, we're not friends. And one interesting thing about friendship, I remember to say this, L. Ron Hubbard, the director of Scientology, the creator of Scientology, had some interesting points about life, and one of them was he claimed that it's not your enemies that control you and make your life hell; it's your friends. And he said that in and I read that in 1989 when I was studying to be a Scientologist. I dropped out because I got a bad feeling. His son's book came out. L. Ron Hubbard Jr.'s book came out. L. Ron Hubbard, Messiah or Madman, and I read it. I thought about it, and I got out of it early. And before the, 1989, I got out of it. I was actually living with a guy in Pasadena that was close to the place, the Scientology place, because I basically ran away from home to do Scientology. And when I was like 22 years old, and I came back home and never did it again. But Ron Hubbard said, yeah, like I said, it's not your enemies don't really have much power over you. You just say fuck you to them, they say fuck you to you, and everybody's okay. Everything's happy. Your enemies don't tell you much about your enemies don't have that much on you. They just have, they hate you, I hate you too. So what? But your friends, that's where your heart is. That's the people that control you. That's the people that scare you. That's the people that have one on you. If your friend is in hurt or trouble, that's a different level. Or if your friend says to do something, that's like a couple orders of magnitude more on the spectrum of power over you than an enemy will ever have. It's your friends that say, Jimmie, I don't like your hair, cut it. Well, that's just a ridiculous example, but then I might look at it, but if an enemy says to me, Jimmie, cut your hair, you fucking look gross, I'm going to say, fuck you. Who are you? So losing a friend actually has a positive value to it. I didn't intentionally lose a matter as a friend, and I'm not even sure that we're not going to be friends again. But losing friends lets you go. It lets you off the hook. There's less to, and I'm not saying I want that with the moderator. It's his move. If he can say he didn't mean to hurt my feelings, then I'll go on and be his friend. But if I don't be his friend, there's no one telling me what to do. And he tells me out of love, but but still there's a good side to even bad things, and there's a bad side to good things, the yin and yang theory. If Matt and I aren't my friend, I don't know. It's like I want to be his friend, but I'm also free a lot of the time, more of, yeah, I think you guys know what I mean. And so that's that. There's friendship. And if the matter can't understand, if the matter can't even pick one for the team, even if he doesn't understand why I need to hear this from him or need him to apologize or whatever, it still shows ego. It may not be ego in bass playing or guitar playing, but it's still ego in something else. I'm not sure what. But there's still ego when you refuse to, if you have a friend and you refuse to go somewhere that humiliates you to some degree to be that person's friend, and maybe you're not good enough of a friend to them. You're not good enough you're not being a friend to them. And that puts you on the short end of the stick when it comes to quality of person to be friend. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. But that's enough. That's enough. I just wanted to say that I'm transparent with you guys. It doesn't matter. I love you. I hope we're friends. At the same time, someone who's never wrong is too good to be my friend. And yet someone who can't admit they're wrong is not good enough to be my friend. I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.